Hi, I'm MAMMOTH. Welcome to the second installment of MAMMOTH Basics. Today I want to talk to you about how to program drum fills and transitions for your metal songs. Alright, before we jump into things and fills and all the interesting stuff that you're here for in the first place, I want to get a few things out of the way. Firstly, this is a basics lesson. So if you're not a beginner when it comes to programming drums, you would just want to see the fills and how they're composed, skip right ahead to whatever is in the description right below. That being said, we should get everybody on the same page because obviously not everyone watching this is probably all that knowledgeable about drums. Now, what is a drum fill? To explain that, we need to know what a beat is. A beat is what gives the song its rhythm. It is the core of the song and usually it's the backbone of the band. When a change in a song comes up, drummers will more often than not play something to announce that transition. That announcement is what musicians like to refer to as a drum fill. A few important things about drum fills that I would like to mention before we get into the specific of things. Firstly, while they can be technical and flashy, their goal is to lead the band during a transition from one part to the next. So please keep that your priority. These transitions are supposed to make your songs flow better and not show off what one person can or can't do on their instrument. If the transition needs to be flashy and the song calls for it, then that is obviously totally okay. Secondly, these fills are important to be heard in context of a beat. The drummer needs to go out from the beat he or she is playing into that fill and back into whatever the next beat is. So keep that part in mind too. What comes before and after a fill is just as important. Third, not all fills work as well in all tempos. Some do, others unfortunately will sound disjointed and weird. Play around with the note division if it sounds weird. Try going from 16th notes to 8th notes if it's too fast to be played physically, or maybe the other way around if it starts to sound like an exercise. Fourth, and this is a songwriting tip in general, not only the drummer can play a fill. Ideally, the rest of the band follows the drums. This can mean a million different things, but for example, if the drummer suddenly stops playing on one beat, it can be a cool idea to explore how it feels if the band does that too. Last but not least, before we jump into the fill ideas, these are concepts. This isn't about where each hand goes exactly, these are rhythmic ideas and patterns. Feel free to steal them all and see what works in your songs. Once you understand these, I want you to explore the ideas and see what happens when you change the orchestration. You can make them longer, like maybe 2 bars, or shorter, just one beat, for example. I'll show you that too to get started. With that out of the way, here's what I'll be using today. Let's jump into Cubase. I am using a program called Superior Drummer 2 with one of my own presets. It sounds like this. Cubase comes with its own drum program, which is called Groove Agent. If you have a DAW, you will have something similar. It doesn't matter how it sounds. This is just about getting your songs out into the world and writing music. It sounds fine, Groove Agent is fine. I prefer Superior Drummer. Use whatever you've got. Just a final quick note, I will be showing every fill with a beat before and after, because context matters, like I mentioned. You should hear how the fill sounds in context of a song. So there's music too. There's a guitar, bass, and a few lead things happening. Let's get into it. The first fill that I want to show you is the Dave Grohl fill, is what I call it. Let's hear how it sounds. That was that. Let's check it out in depth. This is something that is called a herta. The drummers watching will know what that is, probably. It's a rudiment, and it's based on 2 fast notes followed by 2 notes that are half the speed. Basically, for example, it could be 2 16th notes and then 2 8th notes. In this case, I straight up ripped this drum fill from Dave Grohl on No One Knows by Queens of the Stone Age. And it's based in triplets. Let me solo the drum fill. Here it is. That's the drum fill. It's just snare, first tom, snare, floor tom. Let's move on with the next drum fill called the cymbal choke. Let's hear it. Here's what that fill looks like. It's literally just a few hits, and the drummer, the fill is literally just muting cymbals and accompanying that with the kick drum, and the one guitar is playing that pattern as well. So to me, that's even more musical if you can have the band emphasize what the drum fill is doing. In this case, this is what's happening. Let's hear it again. It's literally just da-da, 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 and it goes into the next section of the song. Try and do that with whatever pattern is in your songs. It really, really, really works well. Next fill we'll be looking at is what I like to refer to as the Portnoy Fill. Here it is. There it is. This is a really cool concept, and metal drummers love this drum fill. Is it overused? Maybe a little. Is it efficient and is it effective? Does it sound cool? Fuck yes. It's so good. Here it is. It's this pattern all the way through. 2 on the hands, 2 on the kick. That's it. Right, left, kick, kick. Right, left, kick, kick. Right, left, kick, kick. Right, left, kick, kick. That's it. And then you just move the hands around. You could even split the hands up. It works fine. Here I chose to do snare, first tom, third tom, first floor tom. That's the fill. Let's hear it isolated. Super simple fill, just between the 4 limbs. The cool thing about it also is you can speed it up so much and it will still hold up and and the drummer will be physically able to play it. I use it all the time. Perfect fill. The next drum fill is a variation that is built on this one, on the Portnoy. Here it is. This is basically the same idea, going between hands and the feet. 4 on the hands, 2 on the kick, 4 on the hands, 2 on the kick, and then 2 on the hands, 2 on the kick, which gives us our 16th notes. And here it is again, isolated. That's it. The next drum fill that we'll be checking out is the Portnoy Short. Let's hear how that sounds. As you may have heard, it's shorter, which is why it's called the Portnoy Short. What I meant by that is it's just half of a complete bar instead of the full bar of a fill. Here, the drummer continues on, and the fill only starts on the 3 of the beat. It's a drum fill that I hear Portnoy do often, which is why I'm calling it that. I'm pretty sure he's the one that made this drum fill popular. I don't know if there was a drummer before him that did that as often. As we can see here, it's 2 on the snare, 2 on the kick, 4 on the snare, next beat. Let's hear that again. There you go. Let's check out the 6th fill. This one I called the Stop on 3. And as you can see here, all of the band is playing on the 3. Well, the final note is on the 3 is what I'm trying to say. Let's hear that. There you go. What's the drum fill itself? Doesn't really matter all that much. I just plugged in the Portnoy Fill. Sounded cool. 2 on the hands, 2 on the kick, 2 on the first tom, 2 on the kick, and then at the end, both hands at the same time. One hand is on the snare, one is on the second floor tom. You could do something that is called a flam, where both hands kind of hit at the same time. They're targeting the same 16th note, but one is slightly earlier than the other. You could do that. It's something that drummers do a lot. I chose not to. Feel free to try that out. The next drum fill is what I like to call the Mario Duplantier. Mario Duplantier, he is the drummer for Gojira. It's one of my favorite bands, and if you haven't checked them out, or if you're a drummer specifically haven't checked out Mario Duplantier, I urge you go do that. Here's the fill. This is what drummers call a paradiddle. A paradiddle is yet another of those rudiments that I've already mentioned. I don't think I've explained what a rudiment is. A rudiment is a set pattern that drummers learn when they're starting out with drums, usually or often. A single stroke roll can be a rudiment. It's just right, left, right, left, right, left, or starting on the left, it's the exact opposite, left, right, left, right, left, right. Left, right, left, right, left, right, yeah. And this rudiment is, like I said, it's a paradiddle. And what it is, it's right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. Where those doubles, right, left, right, right, that's a double, and left, right, left, left, that's another double. Those are usually a bit quieter. And here I chose the following pattern. It's right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, like I mentioned already. And the kick is playing all 16th notes. This drum fill, this paradiddle fits very nicely into 16th notes because it's 8 notes long, and you can fit that into a bar of 16th notes twice. So you got right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, and then another one of those. And I split up the hands between the right cymbal. The right hand is on the ride, on the bell, and the left hand stays on the snare. And you're accenting the left hand on the downbeats on the 2 and 4. Here's how that sounds. It sounds super technical. What makes it all that flashy is the speed and the orchestration. You could split up the hands between other elements of the drum. I personally really like the sound of this, and I've heard Mario use that in a song called Liquid something. I'll put it in on the screen now once I forget the name. And that's the fill. Let's move on to the next fill, which is the Joey Jordison. The Joey Jordison fill is, in this case, 2 bars long. Let's listen. Starts out a bar early before the transition, earlier, and it starts out with a snare roll that is building up. It's just 16th notes with kicks on the 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here's where the fun comes in, which is basically the Portnoy Fill, but a bit faster and a bit different. And I straight up stole this fill from the song Psychosocial of Slipknot. Listen to the intro, you'll know what I mean. 4 on the snare, 2 on the kick. Tom 1 and 3, 2 on the kick. 4 on the floor tom, 2 on the kick. And then snare and a china on the 4. And then on the 4 and a kick, and then it goes into the next beat. Let's listen to this isolated. That's it. I think it's a bit slower in the song Psychosocial. The fill is still super cool, and I think it would work well in this song as well. The next drum fill, the Lars Ulrich. This fill is simpler than the ones we've looked at, and that's on purpose. And here it is. It's very, very simple. It's snare, kick, snare, 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 snare. That's it. This drum fill you'll hear in action in the song Sad But True. Classic drum fill in my opinion. If this doesn't get you pumped and doesn't want to make you crush something or air drum, I don't know what will. Maybe Phil Collins, I don't know. The 10th drum fill that we're going to be looking at is the play past the downbeat fill. This is playing over the 1 is what I'm trying to say. Let's hear it. It was, let's go back to 16th note. It was a 3 over 4 on the hands. It's the snare is playing every 3rd 16th note. And then it goes into a quick Portnoy Fill, which I've already explained a bunch this time. But it continues on the 1 beat and only stops on the 2 with 2 hits on the floor tom. And it gets accentuated by the guitars and the bass. Let's hear it again. Let's hear it again, and let's count along this time just so you realize it actually stops on the 2 of the next part of the song. And here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. There you go. The next drum fill is the snare crescendo, and let's hear it. This drum fill, in my opinion, works really, really well in this song. It's literally just a kick and 2 crashes on the 1, and then starting on the first 8th note, it's just a build up on the snare. Just the snare getting louder, 16th notes. That's all there is to it. Let's listen to the next fill. I call this the hardcore buildup. You'll hear why. This is almost closer to a tom beat, tom groove, as opposed to a drum fill. Let's hear it. It starts out with a flam on the snare, which is what I've already explained. 2 hits that are a bit split, and then a kick, and then 2 hits on the floor tom, another kick, snare, kick, floor toms, kick, and then it's just a build up between the 2 hands. One hand is on the snare, the other is on one floor tom and then the lower floor tom. I hear this drum fill a lot in hardcore and metalcore, especially before a breakdown. Here it is again. Pay attention to the hands. You'll hear how they're not coming exactly at the same time on the snare. There you go. Let's jump into the next fill, which I have called the Triplet Fill. This is a fill that is completely based in triplets, as you can see here. And honestly, I would never use this fill in this song because the guitars and the bass and the leads are all playing 16th notes. It really clashes, but I wanted to include this anyway just so you can hear how it sounds. Forget the song context in this particular case. If you have a song that is in triplets or in 3, try this fill. It's literally just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, all single stroke rolls, just orchestrating it. And the kick is on the quarter. Sounds pretty cool in my opinion. Just doesn't work for this particular song, but as I've mentioned, that just happens. Next fill is what I like to call the Rev Fill. Let's hear it. This is a fill that I have heard the Rev, the late drummer of Avenged Sevenfold, use in a few of his songs. And it's based in 16th notes, with the sole exception being a 32nd note on the snare. The first part, it goes between the snare and 2 different cymbals, back to the snare, 2 different cymbals. The cymbals are always accompanied by kicks, and here's what the hands are doing on the cymbals. It goes with the right hand onto the ride, and the left hand goes onto the hi-hat. He usually uses a second ride for that, or he usually used a second ride for that. I believe Portnoy does that as well. And it's literally just hands, cymbals, hands, cymbals. And let's hear how that sounds isolated. That's it. I chose to use the hi-hat here just because I didn't like how the sound of the ride was on the left side. It just sounded weird, this particular sample. Anyway, you could use any other sound source for that. It's more of the idea that I wanted to show you. Let's jump right ahead into the cymbal build-up, fill number 15. That was a bit quiet. Let's hear it isolated. It is literally just a build-up of cymbals. Just the kicks and the cymbals playing 8th notes, and then the kick goes up to 16th notes for the final 2 beats. This particular fill will probably work a lot better in a more dynamic song. If you're going from a very quiet section to a heavier section, this might be the fill for you. Let's move on to the no fill is the best fill. Sometimes the song doesn't need a drum fill. Sometimes it just works if you continue with the beat. Let's hear how that sounds. Works well, or can work well if you so choose. Now, these were a lot of drum fills. If you've got any questions about how they work, or if I've skipped something that you wanted to know, just ask me in the comments. I will get back to you as soon as I can. I promise you that much. What you could technically do is go back and listen to each drum fill by itself. But here's something fun that I thought could maybe spice things up. I just compiled all drum fills into a little solo. Let's hear how that sounds. There you go. I thought this was fun. I really enjoyed making this video, and I'm really happy about the response I got for my first drum beats video. I hope this is helping you. If you have any questions pertaining drum programming, leave them down below in the comments. If you have any questions when it comes to programming drum beats, go check out my first video that I did. That being said, I've been MAMMOTH. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Cheers.